Hello, this is Dr. Moore, and this video is about the reduction of air pollutants. There are two general strategies for reducing air pollution. The first is to create less pollution to begin with, and the second is to use technology to capture pollution before it enters the environment. Let's look at some of the ways that you could produce less pollution. First, we can use less energy. We get most of our energy from burning fuels, and burning fuels produces air pollution. If we used less energy, we'd burn less fuel, and thus there would be less air pollution. Using less energy means less energy for transportation. Fly less, drive less. When you do drive a fuel-efficient vehicle. Even better, carpool, bike, walk, or take public transit. It also means using less energy in our homes. We should install energy-efficient appliances, turn off electronics when they're not being used, insulate our home, use less air conditioning in the summer and less heat in the winter. And using less energy also means buying less stuff. Everything you purchase requires energy to be harvested or extracted from the environment, to be manufactured and then transported to your home. And it will take even more energy to haul it away when you're done with it. After reducing our energy consumption, the next thing we can do is switch to cleaner fuels. High sulfur coal produces a lot of pollution for every kilojoule of energy released. We're talking NOx, SOx, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, mercury. Whereas natural gas burns much cleaner, producing only carbon dioxide and nitrogen oxides, and at much lower rates than coal or oil-based fuels. Even better is switching to alternative energy. Alternative energies like nuclear, wind, solar, geothermal, hydroelectricity, and hydrogen fuel cells, while far from perfect, produce only negligible amounts of air pollution. So that's how we can create less pollution to begin with. But what about the pollution that we will inevitably create? Well, we can try to capture that pollution using technologies. In this video, I'm going to briefly describe 4 technologies used to reduce air pollution: catalytic converters, scrubbers, electrostatic precipitators, and vapor recovery systems. A catalytic converter is a device on your car that reduces emissions of NOx, carbon monoxide, and VOCs from your vehicle. The VOCs emitted from your car are mostly unburned gasoline. Since gasoline is made up of hydrocarbons, it's abbreviated on this diagram as HC. Hydrocarbons are just one form of VOCs. What a catalytic converter does is it converts NOx, carbon monoxide, and hydrocarbons into nitrogen gas, water, and carbon dioxide, all natural components of the atmosphere. In the United States, catalytic converters have been required on cars since 1975 and are a huge part of the reason air quality has improved in this country. Catalytic converters are also the reason why leaded gasoline has been phased out, since the lead in the gasoline interfered with the functioning of the catalytic converter. Scrubbers spray water and chemicals in the case of a wet scrubber, or just chemicals in the case of a dry scrubber, to capture or neutralize pollutants in a smokestack. Electrostatic precipitators ionize particulate matter so it can be collected on charged plates. In this diagram, you can see it's giving the particulate matter a negative charge so that the particulates will stick to these positively charged plates. It's a way of sucking them out of the flue gas of this system. Vapor recovery systems capture evaporated gasoline. Remember, gasoline's a VOC that could escape from your tank while you are refueling your vehicle. The vapor recovery system can either be built into the nozzle of the gas pump, or in newer cars, it's built into the car itself. So we have some tools to reduce air pollution. How do we convince people and companies to produce less pollution? There are 3 tools that governments have: regulations, cap and trade, and taxation. Regulation means making laws and then penalizing parties that don't comply with those laws. An example of this are the CAFE standards. CAFE stands for Corporate Average Fuel Efficiency. These are the standards that are set by the government that dictate the minimum fuel economy for cars at various sizes. You can see in this diagram that the fuel economy standards get a little bit higher every year. For every vehicle sold that doesn't meet its appropriate fuel efficiency standard, car manufacturers pay $55 for every 1 mile per gallon below the standard. Another solution is a cap and trade system. In a cap and trade system, the government establishes an upper limit on the amount of pollutant that can be emitted. This is the cap. It then divides up that total amount of pollutant and attaches it to permits so that companies can buy these permits that allow them to emit a certain amount of that pollutant. The total amount of the pollutant allowed by all the permits adds up to the total amount of pollutant allowed by the cap. This incentivizes companies to pollute less because they have to buy permits in order to pollute, and if they don't use all of their permits, they can sell their permits to other companies that need them. A cap and trade system was successfully used to limit sulfur oxide emissions in the United States following the passage of an amendment to the Clean Air Act in 1990. A third strategy is taxation. In a taxation system, there is no cap. Instead, companies are taxed for each ton of pollutant they emit. This incentivizes companies to pollute less because they have to pay for all of the pollution that they create. So, as you can see, there are several ways that we can reduce air pollution.